Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. So as I said in my short that I previously posted, I'm going to be sharing my horse story, my horse journey, which is really basically just getting started. I can't even tell you how excited I am and how just like surreal it all feels. So, if you know anything about my message, my passion, I found so much power in journaling, and not just, like this frou-frou journaling, but just jotting things down, whether, my desires, my thoughts, whatever. And horses have always been a love of mine. And I have always said one day I would like to have horses. It's always been like so close but so far away from me. The better part of my teen years, I was raised on 22 acres. My dad built a house on that land, but we never did anything with it. He cleared just maybe an acre of it, and the rest was just wooded. And I just would always traipse through the woods, and we had bears, bobcats, coyotes, and all the other little woodland creatures. And I loved that land, and I loved my childhood, but I always ached for horses. And I never gave up on believing that horses didn't have to be this super exclusive experience or thing for people with money, because the myth was that horses cost so much and there's no money in it. So if you're gonna buy a horse and have that expensive ass pet, you better be bankrolling, because they're gonna drain your pockets. They eat all the damn time. They need shoes and vets and all these things. And then you got to buy the damn horse. Horses cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's just a very expensive hobby. And, I just never let that deter me. I never bought into that. I never accepted that. And I always maintain that, like, one day I want to have horses. I don't know how, I don't know where, but all of that doesn't matter. And so also too, with my experience with being a Black girl raised in the suburbs / country with a name like Ashley, and just being teased about not being Black enough, not being normal, just being different. Not that I'm not going to call it bullying, because it wasn't bullying, but it definitely were things that, like, stuck with me. And I had to make up in my mind that I like what I like. I am who I am. And I don't care what anyone thinks. And it's my life, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to love what I love, And so to come full circle to this moment right here, when I promise you, I love my life in Maryland with my fiance, living on one income. And what I mean by one income is living within the means of what he can provide. And the lifestyle that I have as a stay-at-home mom with school-age kids has been the best thing. But at no point did I try to squeeze in horses at this phase. I was focused on school. I want the girls to, do their activities, gymnastics, and continue to do swim lessons. And, we travel. I love to travel. What else? But boarding and owning a horse. Oh my God, how could I forget my real estate journey? That's an ongoing thing, constantly learning more and preparing to get into that world. I just didn't think that, like, at this exact point would I even look into seriously what are the costs, what's around here, blah, 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 blah. And so for my fiance to surprise me the other morning, we were, how you're like laying in the bed but you're awake, but you're not ready to get your day started. So he rolls over and he says, can I ask you a question? And I was like, no, to the hell to the no. I was like, we don't talk like that to each other. We don't start our sentences like that, because that has such a weighty tone, and it means something's wrong. You want to discuss something. And if it's me, I'm like, we need to talk, but if it's him, I'm like, what now? You know what I mean? really was like, why are you saying it like that? Just ask me the question. Why are you starting my Sunday off like this? And he was like, it's nothing bad, babe. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. So we get past that. And I'm like, okay, what, baby? And he was like, would you want to live on land and have a barn, have what you need for horses, but we live further out, and obviously we would be. And I was like, babe, where's all this coming from? I was like, okay, yes, it's a dream to have land and a barn, but that's a lot of work. And I don't know how to care for horses or do all the horse things on my own. As much as I love horses, that's a whole nother world, it's you and you. And so and I don't want to uproot the girls' school right now. Autumn's starting middle school, and which is a big deal. I love our community. Our community has walking trails, a playground, a community pool, and a clubhouse and a gym, and it's central to everything. And I do love our home. And I was like, wow, I can't even believe that I can confidently say and securely say, like, I don't want to be selfish in the moment and be like, yeah, I just want us to just buy some land and be out in the woods with me and my horses. Like, I don't even want that, and I talk a lot about moms feeling guilt of making these decisions for themselves to live their best lives with their kids in tow. If you're confident and you're ready to go and you can do it, by all means. This whole thing of like, I'll just wait till the kids finish school, get to college. Well, that's like 10 years away. I'm not talking that crazy, maybe if Autumn finished middle school and she's about to start a new high school, and Rael's coming up to whatever. I don't know. But I could confidently say, no, I don't want to think about me in this moment. And he was like, well, then I want you to look into boarding a horse and what the costs are like, because I really want you to have a horse and I want you to be happy. And I just was like, I was so speechless. I was so taken aback. And I was like, oh my gosh, babe, are you serious? Like, what? I mean, I knew he started a new job and I knew he got a raise. We didn't talk about the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. He's happy with it. I'm here for it. We already live within his means. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been into like, oh, well, let's add my money into the pot so that we can have more. Like, no, what he provides is more than enough. And I love our home. I love our community. I love Maryland. And so I just couldn't believe that. And I thought I wanted a new car. I'm trying to tell you, I've said this before on this channel. I love the Volvo XC90. It was a rental car we had once, and I didn't want to give that car back. It's just like this. I don't know. I didn't know anything about Volvo, but when I got in the car, I was just like, oh my God. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get a new car at some point. I don't know. I would like a new car. Don't have time to put a date on it, but a horse, okay, never mind. Forget the car. Because I just was so speechless, And so he was like, nothing crazy. Let's see if we can keep it within this range. And I was like, well, how much for my horse? And he was like, I don't know. To $4,000. I was like, $4,000? I was like, oh my gosh. And I just was like, babe. He was like, I just love how you get so handsy and affectionate when I talk about spending money. I was like, I don't do that. I know maybe I do, and I don't notice that I do. But the rest of the day, I was just in the weeds, just like, oh my God, I did all the research of boarding, what's in the area, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't too concerned of like, where to buy a horse and is that enough money, because I have a lot of confidence with auctions and all kinds of luck and things working out in my favor to where you can get a good horse for little to nothing. And I watched growing up, because we lived on the cusp of the country, it was like half suburbs, half country in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And we went to this church, and a lot of the members were just regular schmegler, down to earth people, and they had horses like people have cats and dogs. Like, it won't none but a thing to them. And so these were the people who introduced me to that world, because after church they would be like, come on over to the house and y'all see the horses and we're gonna cook out and just kick it. And that was their world. If they weren't fishing, they were riding horses and just having a good old time, you know what I mean? And so I watched that family just do really creative things within the realm of horses. And it wasn't complicated. It wasn't frou-frou. And it wasn't like they were made of money per se, but they just had enough to do what they wanted to do. And so I have a few pictures here. This is one of the horses that I got to ride with that family. I don't know what kind of horse this is, but as you can see, I was really young. This was another time that I got to ride. And then this was my dream moment right here. This was my first experience seeing draft horses and getting a full sense of their immense size and power. He had to hoist me up on his knee to get up on this horse. And when I tell you, after riding that night, my inner thighs and legs were so sore, but it was that good, sweet sore, because it was just heaven. I mean, I don't even think I washed my hand after riding this horse. I love the smell of horses. I love the smell of hay and barns and all that stuff. I don't consider myself a country girl or a cowgirl by no means, but it's just something about horses that I've always loved. And this horse was named Sheba. And I don't know if I mentioned she was a Percheron. And I don't even think she was full grown. And so he had his own horses, and his sister and her husband that lived a little ways down the street, they traded horses constantly. And so when I went to her house with him, I would see different Tennessee Walkers, Appaloosas, Paints, quarter horses, thoroughbreds, all that whole world. Miniatures that were really cute. They pulled the little buggies. I saw my first mule. Like, it was just pure, just slow, easy peasy, living life as it comes type of mode, because nothing was fast. Nothing was about materialistic things, or it was just the simple things, the sweet moments of just everyone sitting around, enjoying the fresh air, talking, laughing, and riding horses, and, you know, just quality time. So those were my memories, and just the joy that horses brought, and how much fun it was to, you know, have that free range. And then one moment, I don't have a picture of that horse, but they put me up on the horse and they say, take it down in the field and, you know, just do like this, do like that to control the horse, and take it on down and bring it on back. And I said, yes, I can do it. They open up the gate and the horse takes off. And that was my first time galloping, you know, so it was scary, but amazing. And I'm sure my parents almost had a heart attack, because a lot of people too, they fear, you know, these stories of, you know, accidents and horses going crazy and things like that. And there's risk in everything, but building a relationship and the bond and the intelligence of horses at the same time, you know, there's so much more good. It's like people that are afraid of flying. Like, okay, if you can count the number of airplane crashes, you know, you have to have faith in everything. You have faith when you get in a car. You know, you have faith driving over bridges. You know, bridges collapse, yes, but the likelihood of it collapsing, the likelihood of a horse kicking you and throwing you, I mean, it was just more rewarding than to lean into that than to be fearful. And so that was what planted the seed of me loving horses. And then even as I came up into adulthood, I just didn't allow myself the opportunity to take riding lessons consistency. Obviously, finances were a factor. I put my daughter in riding lessons, and I had her instructor was very flexible, and he would let me ride from time to time, which was cool with my schedule and timing with as time permitted. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if he didn't have anyone else lined up and other things to do. I also helped with, the caring for the horses with my daughter, brushing them down and tacking them up and all the things, which was just enough at that time. Like, I was doing what I could do, but there was always this deep gnawing at me to like, okay, be able to do more on my own time and just not do the mommy horse thing, but just do me horse things. You know what I mean? And so skip ahead. I meet my fiance, and he's into golfing and the motorcycle scene. And so one day we were talking, and we were on our way. That's what it was. He had surprised me with not riding lessons, but like a trail ride. And I was like, I loved the gesture, and it was really sweet, but trail rides are kind of boring to me because as far as groups go, because you just walk in a line with a whole bunch of strangers. And I'm like, I need to turn me loose, like cut me out the plastic. You know what I mean? Like, I want to gallop again, but there's time and a place, So and I was like, but still, I'm so appreciative, and we had a great time. But on our way home, I was explaining, I don't know how it came up, but I worded it like, horseback riding to me is to you what riding your bike is, and he calls that his wind therapy. And he was like, I had no idea you love horses that much. I was like, yeah, babe, it's just not something I talk about all the time because a lot goes into it, and I haven't taken the time to find a niche and like, lessons or like where I fit into it all. And we've just been so busy with everything else. And, but I feel so happy when I am doing horse things and around horses. Like even when we would go into DC and see the, police horse patrol or equine patrol, whatever they call it, I just would like, and then there was another time when we were riding through town, and someone had rode their horse to our shopping center and tied the horse on a tree and went in the restaurant and was doing whatever. I don't know if they were getting carry out or at the bar, but that horse was there for a minute. I was like, oh my God, it's a horse. Like, who rides their horse? And then there was another time when we were riding, and this guy just brought his trailer, brought some horses, let the horses out in the parking lot, and was giving riding lessons. I don't know how much he was charging, but we didn't have time for me to ride. But I stopped and got his information and pet the horses, of course. And it's just always a moment an opportunity for me to just get a little reboost, a little bit of horse, to kind of get me through the next couple of months to where I'll see another horse. And so I shared that with him, and I was like, I'm not making that comparison to like, feel sorry for myself, but or anything like that. Like I've been so depressed without horses, but I do love, and miss it. And he was like, I just had no idea. And ever since that conversation, which was just a few months ago, that's what led up to him secretly looking at land and the cost of everything. And he was just like, I'm getting such a wide range. Like I couldn't hide it anymore. I was like, you do it. You look into like the hardcore numbers, because there were like, some articles were saying like, oh, these are the hidden costs of horse care, and then this is like boarding can range from $300 to $1,200 a month. And he's like, which one is it? And he was like, I'm not a horse guy. So I try to do it to surprise you, but I just want you to know that I want you to look into it, get the numbers, get the budget, and let me know, because I want to, we can do this, and we can, and I just, all the things that happened full circle between his new job and just everything, and me even having more time than ever to really, if I wanted to go all out with this horse thing, I could, just means the world to me. And I was like, here I am with my channel talking about self-care and, really leaning in and allowing and receiving more. And this whole time I was about to receive more and didn't even know it, if that makes sense. Like this whole time I'm sharing with you guys, oh yeah, you know, I love horses, for example. I have like horse things all around the house, and like I've always loved horses, you know, and that's a huge part of my self-care. But, you know, me figuring out where that all fits in with our busy schedules and making time, and really just pausing to see how doable it is, because you never know unless you look into it. And that's where it stemmed from, finding the guy in the parking lot. You know, he was like, I teach lessons. It's like $40 an hour. I was like, $40 an hour? I was like, that's it? And I was like, babe, I want to take writing lessons. And he was like, yeah, we'll see. You know, of course, like, we'll give him a call. That was one conversation, but it had nothing to do with me owning my own horse and me boarding it. So then just 2 weeks later, now I can literally pick a place and buy a horse, and my budget is $4,000 for my horse alone. Like, I wasn't even prepared for that level of like, wow, it's happening. Do you see what I'm saying? I couldn't have even imagined. And my fiance is very generous, and he's very caring and affectionate, and he's given me so much already that I really kind of saw myself doing the horse thing on my own. Like, yeah, I'm going to get my houses rented out. I'm going to finish my degree, get these businesses going. You know, my life coaching is doing this, that, and the other. And yeah, and then I'll just go off to the side, you know, quietly, and be like, he might be like, babe, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing the horse thing. You know, I've got, not him saying, I got you. And not that he wouldn't, and not that he doesn't get it, but he's not an animal lover. He's not a dog person. Even like, you know, Moo, TT, and now horses. He's leaning in so much to making me happy that I just was like, I'm just so shocked. Because again, I knew what, I just didn't know how, you know, and I didn't have a time frame of when I would be able to figure all this out. I didn't, you know, I didn't have this clear-cut plan for my horses, because I had so many other clear-cut plans for everything else that I'm working on. You see what I'm saying? And I love making my YouTube videos, and I have on all the other things that I do that make me feel good, that make me feel alive, that, you know, are part of my self-care and my rituals and routines. They're great too, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like my horses. It's like a whole nother level to this. And I can't wait to continue to share with you guys, you know, my journey as I become a horse mom. And that if I can do it and not even know that I'm doing it, or how the stars aligned and everything worked out, then I know that anything is possible to anyone else out there that has their own desires and dreams and things. Maybe it comes through a partner or boyfriend, husband, whatever, and maybe it doesn't, but anything is possible. And my uber, you know, overly positive and optimistic mindset has only continue to open doors for me and keep me afloat in this crazy world where someone out there believes that, oh yeah, no, you know, Black people don't ride horses, and horses are super expensive and it's super unattainable. There's just no way. But there is a way, because I'm about to do it. And I didn't even know how I could do this, but apparently I'm about to do this. Does that make sense? So, I don't want to say this channel is about to take a shift and go total equine. I know I have a lot to learn, and I know that, you know, I have so much respect to the people out here that this is their bread and butter. They train and break horses. They are in competitions and they teach lessons, and they know all the breeds and all the fancy things. And I don't know how deep I'm gonna go with this, but I'm excited to try. I'm excited to see. You know, like, now the sky's the limit. I don't even know what I like. I don't even know, God, like, wow, there's just so much to learn, and the possibilities are endless. Like I said, with horses, you know, maybe I'll get into, you know, doing what someone blessed me with, which is exposure. Like, hey, letting kids know horses are great, horses are fun, and you can love horses too. You can have horses too if you want to. You don't have to believe what you see on TV and only see the representation of people that have hundreds of acres and $1 million ranches and barns and stables and equipment and stuff, you know. um Black girls ride too. Black people have always been involved in the equestrian world at some level or the other. My daughter was like, we should get a camel too, and I was like, yeah, people have always been riding something since the beginning of time, and Black people have been in these circles and conversations and world, blah 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 blah. But again, exposure and representation is a big part of it. And let me say this too: I am not sharing that part to say that, and at any moment I have been in horse circles and felt like I'm not welcome because I'm Black, and people are like, Black people don't ride horses. What is she doing here? You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. Horse people and dog people, animal lovers in general, are the most open-hearted people. Like, friendly, giving, outgoing, talkative, chatty, friendly, all the things. And so that's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying too that, you know, just because you're in the equine world and you are making the big bucks, you're stuck up and entitled and, like, super uptight and, like, this is a secret society. I'm not saying that either. But there's different levels. There's dressage and there's English riding and there's these competitions and there's the Kentucky Derby and all these different fancy races, and it's just levels. So you get in where you fit in, you find what works for you, find what you love, and you do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to share that journey. I'm going to continue making my videos about self-care, self-love. And life goes on. Thank you for watching. This video was a little long, but I'm so excited. And I can't wait to introduce my new baby and her new home and all the things. I got a lot to do, and just about to go make these phone calls right now. And until the next video and update, thank you for watching. Peace. Bye.